How are you doing today, my lazies? Today, we're going to be analyzing how to fix the side characters of Naruto. This episode is focused on the Jinchuuriki, not including Naruto and Killer Bee, and their many flaws that can be flipped into strengths. Let's dive in. Now, this is another squad of people that needed to be expanded upon since they're pivotal to the actual plot. We get more Akatsuki lore in canon than we get for the actual victims. Other than Naruto, Killer Bee, and Gaara, we get random fillers for Utakata and Fu. A brief Yugito off-screen clapping. And novel lore for Han and Roshi that mostly focuses on hyping Minato. All we know is the villages these people come from, mostly from the games showing their headbands, and the fact that they're the main targets with kaiju inside them. How are we supposed to feel their plight when we only really see Naruto and Gaara struggling while Killer Bee just ignored the haters? Yugito should have been utilized to showcase the power of the hidden cloud, considering her connection to Killer Bee. Isabu has just been tossed around from person to person and filler to filler. First Ren, then Yagura, and then randomly in the Gurren filler, and then captured by Deidara somehow at the end of the arc. No context for how it even got loose if Obito is the one controlling Yagura for decades. Again, Roshi and Han just get no love in the anime for some reason, even though they're the most interesting Jinchuriki. Full release gives you an 8 gates-like boost without the repercussions, and Son Goku has a similar title to Enma, being a Sage Monkey, and we know how powerful Sage Mode makes you. For Kisame to just low diff him is completely disingenuous and disrespectful to his character. Han was completely off screen, and it doesn't make sense considering he could basically use the 8th gate and Biju power at the same time. He should be in the same realm as Guy. So how is he possibly captured? The concept of perfect Jinchuuriki was also introduced and then discarded like it was nothing. The whole BG realm thing was cool, and then they just discarded it. They say Yagura was a perfect Jinchuuriki, yet he was under a genjutsu for at least a decade, and then the other captured Jinchuuriki didn't even get along with their Biju. Yet they were somehow friends in the end? Everyone but Naruto and Gaara could control their full transformations without going through the Tail Beast training, and they weren't even perfect Jinchuriki. The stories for the Jinchuriki should have replaced the terrible amount of fillers we got. That's the biggest cop-out of the entire century. Imagine how cool it would have been to see what happened to Yagura before and after Obito, since he's hailed as the strongest Mizukage. Imagine learning about Boil release with Han and its upper limits, or Sage Monkeys and Corrosion style with Roshi, or maybe even the crazy abilities of Saiken and Chome, since they're like Katsuyu and the Aburame clan. Imagine learning about Blaze release fully from Madatabi before we see Amaterasu, or learn the limits of Clone Jutsu and Water Style from Isabu. Imagine learning the story of what happened to the Biju after Hagoromo released them, or at least seeing Hashirama tame all the Biju and their lives after they were distributed. Seeing the timeline of each Biju would have made for a much more compelling story that could push the plot forward. These should have been the fillers that we got. Add more story to the main targets, pushing the plot forward. Even in and before Boruto, they could have utilized the Biju power to advance society, whether they physically used them for energy or innovation in the past, or to mimic their abilities in the future. These characters desperately needed expansion. I can go on and on about the wasted potential of the Biju and Jinchuriki, along with how their stories could have aided the story of the series itself, but I digress. Not like we'll get the expansion we want or needed anyway. You can read my BG Hollow series where I expand on the concept I'm explaining, but that's the closest we'll get as far as a true expansion. So like, share, subscribe, and until next time, stay lazy.